So then so equilibrium is where we want to be. It's where demand curve and supply curve intersect. That's where it's most efficient. So we want to be here. So this is the best place where we want to be. So here, this is where everything's maximized basically. If we're here at this point, it's efficient. Economy is operating at its max level. And then surplus is when you go above when you're here, this is surplus. And then this is shortage. So yeah, surplus is when surplus is when supply is greater than demand. They are producing too much. And then shortage is when demand is greater than supply. They are producing too little. So yeah, here this is a surplus, so producing 6,000 extra. Then that's a shortage where you're producing 7,000 extra. 7,000 less. Yeah, 7,000 less. Like you need to produce 7,000 more. So productive efficiency is when you produce goods the least costly way, using the best technology, using the right mix of resources. Allocative efficiency is when you produce the right mix of goods, and the combination of goods must be highly valued by society. So, so supply of goods is constant as demand increases, equilibrium price increases, and equilibrium quantity increases. So to show that, we'll do both here. So in this case, label this curve. So this is what would happen for the top one. So what would happen is shifts right, equilibrium price increases, equilibrium quantity increases, and then for the bottom, it would just be like this. So it'd be like that. So D bottom here. Equilibrium price decreases, equilibrium quantity decreases. So then if the demand of the good is constant, supply increases, equilibrium price falls, equilibrium quantity rises. If the demand for a good is constant, supply decreases, equilibrium price rises, equilibrium quantity falls. So as we show here, the supply increases, shifts right, price goes down, quantity goes up. So quantity is on the horizontal. So and then here, a decrease in supply shifts left, price increases, quantity decreases. So these are complex cases where we don't know what happens exactly. So in this case, if supply increases and demand decreases, price would decrease, but we don't know what happens to quantity. And then if supply decreases and demand increases, we know price increases, but quantity, we don't know what happens. And then if supply increases, demand increases, we don't know what happens to price, but we know quantity increases. If supply decreases and demand decreases, we don't know what happens to price, but we know that the quantity decreases. So price ceiling is the maximum legal price a seller may be charged for product or service rent control. So, for example, rent control, it causes a shortage in the market, but it makes it more expensive it makes it more cheaper for people to rent. So like it's like this basically. So it sets a legal maximum in the market. So this would be rent control here. Rent control. Where the price is set legally lower than equilibrium. to make it cheaper for renters. But it caused a shortage. So in this case, the ceiling is at 0.75, below the 1.25 equilibrium. So it caused a shortage here. The price floors are minimum price fixed by the government to support some agriculture products, so they incur minimum wages. So they do this with minimum wage, and they do this with milk in Canada. So they do this with both of those. So I'll show you the minimum wage one. So it would look like this. So the minimum wage is about $15 right now in Ontario, and the equilibrium. I'm not sure what the equilibrium would be, but it's probably lower than the minimum wage of 15. Like we'll never know for sure, but that's just my guess. But we need to have the minimum wage higher because people just don't make enough. We need the minimum wage to be higher than the equilibrium because people just don't make enough to live. It's, in my opinion, I think it should be a lot higher than 15 because the cost of living is just so high. So yeah, in this case, like for milk, this is a good example for milk. So like, let's say milk is at $4. That's about what it is right now for a bag of milk. And let's say $3 is the equilibrium price. We set it at $4 in Canada because we're protecting our milk producers in Canada. That's why. So this is the best milk example here, this graph. So milk is set like $1 above what it should be at the equilibrium, just to support farming.